Sit!
Welcome to the Dynasty Nerds Fantasy Football Podcast, where we discuss dynasty strategy, rankings, and all things NFL. So get ready to geek out on fantasy football with your host, Rich Dotson.
And welcome to the Dynasty Nerds Fantasy Football Podcast as Matt takes mics to the face.
I adjusted my mic in between
This is
shows.
going to be a long show.
And I think I overdid it.
Over-adjusted?
It's a little bit too springy.
A little
now.
springy.
I'm gonna
It's
get
going
hit.
like in and out of your mouth.
I'm gonna get hit in the face now.
like a pole vaulter.
Fudge.
Look at you over there. So I'm Rich. He's Matt.
Hey.
He's Garrett.
How's it going?
It's going good. We're here with our second show
Heck yeah, we are.
in the same clothes I wore yesterday.
For you.
I mean,
But for us.
I remember watching the show like, oh, different shows. We're in the exact same clothes they were in the other show.
yeah, we do them back to back.
And apparently Rich and Garrett like to be twins.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't get the freaking memo, guys.
Yeah.
I haven't worn a sweater. Maybe, honestly, for the show, probably since
Last
winter.
Yeah, me too.
So it's the first one I wear for it. And sure enough,
Yeah.
Garrett shows up in the same sweater. I was like, I'm not.
I should send you a selfie before I leave every
Yep.
time.
I don't.
Hey.
I live here, and I was like, I'm not changing.
I'm changing for you. I don't change for anybody.
Wow. Sorry if you don't like the way it looks.
Rich, don't ever change.
Thank you. I won't. I'm trying not to. Like, oh, you've changed. I'm like, no, I haven't.
No. Literally, I wore this yesterday.
I haven't changed my
Definitely.
underwear since '66.
Definitely not.
So today's show, we're talking draft pick value in late January, right?
Yeah.
Like, so
If you had to make a trade today and somebody said, hey, you have whatever pick. You have
1-6.
You have 1-6. Would you take DJ Moore? And that's basically what we're going to talk about. Like, what kind of player would we want for each pick? So that way, because honestly, that's going to start happening here very soon. People are going to start making offers. And this is the time to capitalize on the veterans, because the veterans, like, they're not as exciting this time of year. It's the draft picks that are exciting. Everybody wants more picks. Everybody wants more of those young assets right after watching Senior Bowl highlights and combine numbers, and they get drafted to their favorite team ever. Like, they want that young upside of what could be. Well, whose value? The older players.
number one word of advice: don't move now. Be patient. Unless you get an offer you can't refuse. That's right, Matt. Hold that. Pose the host show.
The whole show. You should have put your arms on the table to start.
I messed up,
Big
man.
mistake.
These picks will only increase in value from here to the end of April.
Yes.
That is just a stone cold fact. I've been playing Dynasty for 21 years, and one thing is true. Dynasty picks from now till later just increase value. Peak value will be during your draft, when you're on the clock and that player is absolutely available for somebody to come. And people play hardball, and
I'm sorry for what?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. Go ahead.
and they'll say that, hey, man, that's just a little too pricey for me. And you're like, okay, well, that's what I need for that pick. And they're going to be like, well, I guess I'm out. And then draft day comes, and you're on the clock, and all of a sudden you're like, hey, this pick's available. And that same person that told you leading up to this point, that's too pricey for me, their knees buckle. And they're on their knees in front of you. And you're slowly unbuckling your pants. This is erotica now.
Please don't make
Do I
it
have an
this.
erotica voice
Please don't make it this.
with the saliva in my mouth?
No.
As you slowly
No.
liberate.
Nope. I'm going to have to edit this show.
So yeah, I mean, you want to be patient. Unless you get an offer, you can't refuse. And Garrett's right. I mean, that's when you're going to really get some good value on some guys that are going to have a couple years left that could offer your contending team some good upside. And like DJ Moore is a good example, right? Like somebody who didn't have that dynasty wide receiver 1 year as he did the previous year, who's now going to a Ben Johnson offense in a second year of Caleb Williams, where we usually see, I mean, we can see sophomore slumps, but as the quarterbacks start to take a step forward, DJ Moore could easily be the wide receiver 1 for the Chicago Bears next year. And, you know, right now, as we go through these picks, we're going to talk about it. Like, I don't have a fair grasp on it, because like once I get past like 1-1, you know, Ashton Jeanty, it's like I still have to watch all this film and kind of grade these guys out, but I'll have a kind of idea. So,
And even the people that know the class really well already, there's still so much that can change. Like, remember a couple years ago, I remember a startup from a guy that is a good dude, well respected, in the second round, and it was right around this time of year. He took Malik Willis in the second round of a startup, not of a rookie draft, of a startup draft.
Who did this?
I'm not saying on the air. He's a good and legitimately a smart dude. Like, I respect his work, but like things change so much. No.
He's the worst player.
I think I know who you just put on there.
Anyways, okay, yeah. I'm sorry. No, and I'll never tell. I'll never tell. So yeah, I mean, it really, everything changes. Like we talked about this before, like the startup drafts. Like if you do a startup draft now compared to doing one later, they're drastically different when they're a mock draft show. So let's start off with the 1-1 because that's the easiest one to say right now. Because we know in Superflex leagues, the 1-1 across the board is going to be Ashton Jeanty. There'll be no guy that steps in and surprises. Because in Superflex leagues, you can get surprises, right? Quarterbacks that sneak in the first round. Like if Jackson Dart goes to Pittsburgh in the first round, that changes a lot. You know what I mean? That changes where we have.
You guys want a Kenny Pickett again? All right.
You know, but that's going to change things. But we did a Stats That Matter show on QBs. Yeah. QBs that go outside the top 10, a little bit rougher of a chance to be dynasty relevant when you're outside that top 10 of an NFL draft pick at quarterback. So Ashton Jeanty, when you watch the tape at Boise State, I mean, there's nothing he does not do excellent, right? Like his pass catching ability, his contact balance, his vision. Like he's an all-around stud running back. Come into a situation, it's going to be a first-round pick, and what everybody covets, right? A rookie running back that's going to get a ton of touches. And if he goes somewhere, like the two most dominant places he's been mocked to are the Dallas Cowboys and the Denver Broncos. Mm-hmm. Two places where he could be a 3-down running back out the gate, which is, we talked about the last show, like on the running back stats that matter, it's like we're looking at a lot of committees. He is most likely going to be a 3-down running back, a guy who's not in a committee, which makes him immediately dynasty gold. Like immediately dynasty. He's the Bijan Robinson, the Zeke Elliott's, the Saquon Barkleys.
Yep. Yeah.
So 1-1. Superflex tight end premium is how we're going to do it. Yep. And where would you guys slot right now the 1-1 overall? Because I'm looking at like right around.
I'll say this, at least at running back. You know, now that'll vary for where everybody has running backs and stuff. But at running back.
Oh, running back. Okay.
I would say for me.
Let me pivot here.
I would probably be tempted to put him at 3.
I think I'd be tempted to put him at 3 as well.
I would be tempted to put him at 3 as well.
Okay. So we're feeling pretty good about 3.
Temptation's gone. He's my 3rd overall running back.
It just happened.
He's right behind Jahmyr Gibbs.
Okay. So for where I have Gibbs around like 13 overall. I'll have to go look at my exact.
I have him 14 overall.
I have Gibbs 13 overall.
Okay. So that's going to put.
I think he's about to be 12. Oh.
Suckers.
That's going to put Ashton Jeanty then.
You got Drake Maye too low, Matt.
You have Drake Maye too high.
I probably do. I have Drake Maye as my. Why do I have
Pro Bowl quarterback Drake Maye?
I got to move Drake Maye down slightly, just a bit here. Okay. I now have Jahmyr Gibbs as 12 overall.
Quit jocking, man.
So I'd probably have Ashton Jeanty as like right around my 14th overall dynasty player.
Okay.
So I'm looking at guys behind Jahmyr Gibbs, and it's Caleb Williams and Justin Herbert are kind of like the two guys I got right behind him. And then it's Malik Nabers and then Brian Thomas. I got a little block of kind of wide receivers.
Malik Nabers over Ashton Jeanty. Easily.
Right, I know. That's where I'm kind of after that. It's kind of I think I'd take him before Brian Thomas though.
I would take him ahead of Brian Thomas as well.
So I think 15 is probably it.
Again, because it goes back to that goal, right? Like the supply and demand. Like how many of those guys can you get? Like, yeah, I miss out on Brian Thomas, but I got Ashton Jeanty, and I come back and get Drake London. Yep. Compared to having, Brian Thomas and then coming back and sitting there with
right,
Saquon
and it's
Barkley.
not to see right. It is not to say Brian Thomas is not really good. He finished as wide receiver 4 on the year or whatever it was. It is just the numbers game. There's just so many of the wide receivers. And I might even. I mean, Malik Nabers. I know it sounds great. I might put him above Malik Nabers.
No, I can't. Not what he did at 21 years old. Malik. I'm very bullish on Malik Nabers. Like to the point of like, I know Jamar Chase came off a monster year.
If you
took Malik Nabers as your number 1 receiver off the board, I have no problem with it. You wouldn't hear me say, "Oh, why don't you take Jefferson or Chase?" Like I see that coming to fruition.
So we would say like running back 3 for for Jeanty. Wide receiver wise, would you trade Malik Nabers straight up for Ashton Jeanty? Yes or no?
No way. I would not take him for 1. So 1-1. No, I'd want more for Malik.
Yeah, I guess I would too.
And that's what you're looking for.
Brian Thomas, Marvin Harrison Jr. How would you feel about those 2 guys?
I think it's a fair trade.
That's a pretty fair trade.
Yeah. I wouldn't to the point where I don't so even though I have him ranked higher in that tier, I wouldn't give more, right? Say hey, I want Ashton Jeanty. I'm weak at running back. I have an abundance of receivers. I lucked into Brian Thomas in the 2nd round. I'm going to use this year to capitalize. Hey, I'll give you Brian Thomas for 1-1.
How many more years until Malik Nabers is just definitely ahead of guys like Chase, guys like CeeDee, guys because all those guys are right in their prime, but they're going to be.
He could do it next year.
Okay.
If he has a monster year.
Justin Jefferson's just turned 26.
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb is 25 in 9 months.
Jamar Chase will be 25.
Jamar Chase is going to be 25 here soon.
If Malik Nabers puts in a year next year, say they bring in a quarterback, whoever it may, say they bring in Sam Darnold or something like that line, and Malik Nabers comes out and he's a top 3 receiver overall, I think that would catapult for most people him to dynasty wide receiver 1.
What about Jordan Love, Justin Herbert? Where would you trade 101 straight up for those guys?
It would really depend on my quarterback situation.
Okay.
Because again,
I don't think I would.
The biggest problem is he's still a running back, right? So that's the biggest thing against Jeanty is
Sure.
1, he hasn't done anything in the NFL yet, right?
Right.
And 2, he is a running back, the most fluid position on my roster. So he joins that tier of okay, that's fine. And then listen, and here's another down part about it, right? When you have the 1-1, if that's your actual pick, you're the worst team in your league. This kind of does suck where obviously you have Lacy's like Bijan and stuff, but running back's the last piece you want to have on your roster. So I would, if I had the 1-1, if I can get Drake Maye plus, if I can get if my team's bad and I'm in a complete rebuild, I want Malik Nabers. I want Drake Maye. I want that quarterback, that receiver that's going to be that long-term value. Not saying Ashton Jeanty won't, but he is he's the least likely to, right? Sure. Odds are at the running back position, you're the least likely to give me that long-term production. We just did that show yesterday, how many running backs didn't have the 10-plus rushing touchdowns, how hard it is to do.
What quarterback do you have Drake Maye at? Sorry.
9.
To sidetrack this. You have him at 9?
QB 6.
Jesus.
I really liked.
Really like this guy.
I mean, he's 20. He's 22.
Yeah. I got him at QB 14, and I there's plenty of room for him to go up. I don't know what the hell this New England.
So do you have Caleb? Do you have Caleb Williams out of him?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one that I definitely have behind. I have CJ Stroud behind him.
Caleb. I mean, they both listen.
I have Pat Mahomes behind them.
Listen, I
don't have Mahomes.
I have Joe Burrow
kind
behind
of bonkers
him.
to me.
Listen, I
Drake
understand
Maye
the argument, but I saw
offers
the
a lot. Yeah, I know he offers a lot more than we expected kind of in the running game, but I don't know what to expect out of this New England offense. I don't know how you guys could feel so warm and fuzzy about this
I think it's because what we saw this year in his starts, he averaged 17.5 points a game, which is actually kind of that threshold for quarterbacks.
Sure.
So he hit that in his starts this season.
With nothing around
him. How could it get much worse?
Yeah. I guess that is the point. I want to see. I will move him up significantly if they put good pieces around him and this offense starts to come together. I just want to see a little. I'm more of a see it person.
I think bringing Mike Vrabel in, who's a really good head coach.
I think he's a really good head coach.
I think they're going to build. They obviously know they have to now build around. They have a quarterback. They got to build around him. And like Garrett said, the fact that you and I had this conversation, the fact that he averaged 17.5 points per game, which is well above the threshold. And solid numbers with, like Garrett said, we know what he will give you in his absolute worst surroundings. His number 1 receiver was
Pop Douglas, I guess.
Javon Baker, maybe even I don't know.
Baker didn't do much, so it would either be him,
Hunter Henry, Keyshawn, nothing around. His offensive line wasn't good. His running back situation wasn't good last year.
They've got a lot of money. I want to see how they spend it.
They have a lot of money.
I want to see how they spend it, how they use their draft capital. It wasn't like Vrabel had these amazing wide receiver cores and really, I mean, you know what I mean? Like when he was in Tennessee, it wasn't like anything. They had A.J. Brown, and then they got rid of him.
Right.
Yeah.
But they also, their the way that they were going to win was through the running game.
And
that's not going to be an option here right now unless they take Ashton Jeanty at pick 4.
I want to see how this thing turns out.
Which,
before I,
low-key,
I get it.
I would kind of love.
Before I catapult Drake Maye all the way.
I would totally be fine with Ashton Jeanty at 4, honestly. It would be a madhouse, but it would be fun.
Yeah. So, like, my job is
But it would also hurt Drake Maye's.
I don't know that it would. Do you actually have a threat in the running game? Play action's actually worth something?
Yeah, does Saquon hurt Jalen Hurts?
Different situation.
Okay.
Different situation,
So,
dude. Come on.
yeah. So, like, my job as a dynasty analyst is like, I have 21 years experience. I study this game every single day of my life. Is like part of my game as a dynasty analyst is I'm foreshadowing, right? Like the future. So, like, I understand like our rankings have a big meaning in our overall, like, you know, trade calculator, things along those lines. So, like, I personally value Drake Maye as like, okay, do I want, you know, Pat Mahomes, who's very solid, who's not really giving me quarterback 1 overall numbers at to be 30, or do I want the 22-year-old kid that showed me a lot with nothing? You know what I mean? And it's how I look at it, where like, okay, I'll take this kid, and I know taking Drake Maye, like, okay, I have to now get another, like, that changes the dynamic of my team. Like, I have to get
the draft strategy is fine. I mean, I understand all that.
But like, I'd be really like, again, I would, if I had to 1-1 and my team's abysmal, like, I'm going out and trading Ashton Jeanty for Drake Maye, and hopefully I can get like the plus, right? Like,
So
can I get a second on top of that, or can I get an upside receiver or another running back?
What if he has that second year regression that we've seen so many guys have?
And I'm moving down my rankings.
All right.
I mean,
I'll just leave him where I'm at.
I mean,
where he's at.
it's
you
a
know what I mean?
fluid-
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's, I want to see a little bit more. I always want to see a little bit more.
Who's the guy? Who's like the 2 or 3 guys directly ahead of him for you?
For just quarterbacks?
Just quarterbacks, yeah.
CJ Stroud.
See, Stroud, we already know is like what his ceiling kind of
Kyler
is.
Murray. I mean, so, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I could see him easily jumping.
I'd almost rather
CJ Stroud
I'd almost rather Bo Nix than those guys.
I actually had Bo Nix too. I just didn't want to say it because I knew it was going to be an argument.
No argument for what he did there, and they're going to build around it. I have no like.
I'm
okay
surprised you
with
have
that.
him above Drake Maye, though. That is a little bit of a surprise.
Listen, youth is a factor in the game that we play.
Yeah.
Like the years ahead, right? Like you arguably have 15 more years of Drake Maye. Like that's.
You got 2 more years of Drake Maye than Bo Nix.
So I mean, that's
An old man joke.
it's a huge
for
fact.
Bo.
You know,
Right?
it is a huge fact.
He played too good for me to do like bad
that's all-
player
that's all
jokes,
you
so
got
I got to
left.
resort to what I got.
That's all you got
And
left.
we
I
talk
get
about
it.
that. Like once you get like, if you figure out your quarterback situation in Superflex, it just makes everything else so easier. You know what I mean? Because honestly, in
I know, but
Superflex,
I have a
until you
hard-
figure that position out, you're never competing. You can't win a league in Superflex without good quarterback.
I understand, but rookies, any rookie, Bo Nix included, always feels a little bit too much like a risk for me to have that high.
I'm just
After
surprised.
one season, it's just a little
CJ
bit-
Stroud, rookie before risk, and then he showed that he did go in the pooper.
Yeah, he regressed
but he is
drastically.
still
But you have him higher. Yeah, you have him higher than May. He regressed drastically this year. Now I know he was banged up and everything else
He's,
like
he's
too, but
banged up. They got rid of the offense coordinator. We'll see.
yeah. So
We'll
that's
see.
that's.
I thought Bobby Sloak was a pretty good offensive coordinator. I was kind of surprised by that, honestly.
That was an odd move, and I wonder how that kind of trickles.
Donald Trump became president and got fired. So next on the list is 1-2. So this is where it starts to get a little tricky, right?
Yeah,
like,
and we won't go through every
Hold
pick,
on.
but 1-2 is worth a lot different.
get that deep.
It's a much different value than 1-1.
Yeah, so very different because this is where it get crazy, right? This is where drafts will start to look drastically different from here.
And I'll
So
say
ADP.
this right now for me on the surface,
Can't wait.
I do not value 102, 103, and 104 much different.
Yeah, so let's
I
talk-
value them all
This
about
could be a
the same.
potpourri, right? I mean, this
Yes.
could be.
It could be any one of those players. It's kind of a dealer's choice at this point
It could
before
be
the draft.
either of the two
Quarterbacks.
or the second best running back.
No. Ted
Ted
McMillan.
McMillan.
Wide receiver.
Okay.
Yep.
Todd McMillan at wide receiver, or if it, like Travion Henderson or
A running back bumps up crazy for some
yeah,
reason.
another running back goes, they fall into the first or go really high in the second to a team that, like, again, Cleveland has the first pick in the second round. If Cleveland takes a running back at 2-1 in the draft, that's almost a first. You know what I mean?
The Chargers
Who's
take
getting all the
somebody.
carries?
and
The
you're like, oh,
the
snap.
Chargers don't resign that.
Dobbins.
Denver takes somebody high in the second. You know what I mean? Like, okay, now they could go 1-2.
It's definitely
Sanders
possible. But right now, it's
or
either
McMillan.
one of the two quarterbacks or Ted McMillan.
Ted McMillan or running back. So for me, that's where this kind of like So we just talked about Ashton Jeanty being at like 12 overall, 13, 14 overall.
This drops quite a bit.
Pretty significantly for me. I'm looking at the range of like probably 33. That's CJ Stroud. For me, CJ Stroud, Saquon Barkley, Sam Laporta, AJ Brown kind of range right around there.
And Drake May's at 35 for me, and I would take Drake May before any of those guys. So it's going to immediately start after that for me. So I'm in the same kind of range, but probably even a little bit lower.
I'm a bit lower. I'm in the because like right now, if I'm looking at it just from the quarterback perspective, I have Michael Penix as quarterback 18. Do I know for sure that I would want either one of those quarterbacks above Michael Penix?
No, but would you want Ted McMillan ahead of Michael Penix?
And that's interesting, but literally the player right after is like I have Kyron Williams and Devonta Smith right there. Like, do I feel that much better about
54? I got JJ McCarthy. Like, that's an interesting.
Yeah,
it's another one. Michael Penix and McCarthy, similar range. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I'd rather have JJ McCarthy. Yeah, I got Bucky Irvin at 43.
I have him at 54, which is probably the range where I'm starting to consider, like, because I have some other interesting names in that range. I might have to move Bucky up a little bit, him and James Cook, because I'm looking at some of the receivers there. Like, I have in the 50s, I have DK Metcalf, Tyreek Hill, Chris Olave. Like, I'd definitely rather Ted McMillan above those guys.
Agreed. I got Bucky Irvin below Michael Penix.
I think I'm right around the Michael Penix range. I have him at 47. I think that's right around the range where I'd feel comfortable with this pick.
Yeah, I think right around 47 too, because we have JJ McCarthy. Because like that's like the Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle range for me. The more I think about it, and it's like, yeah, because I'd rather just have Bucky Irvin than like almost like the one. Because I would definitely want all those quarterbacks, right? Like Bo Nix, JJ McCarthy, even Tua Tagovailoa over 1-2. Now again, because I haven't watched the tape yet. You know, I might watch Cam Ward and be like, "Whoa, buddy."
Cam Ward is really, really good. I just don't know that he's drastically better than Penix.
And if he goes to the Titans, you're like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, it's an interesting spot. I mean, potentially a good quarterback coach. I mean, we've only seen it with Joe Burrow. Is that just Joe Burrow being awesome? Yeah. And because we've seen that before, the Adam Gases of the world, and guys like that, where it's just the quarterback makes the play caller.
Yeah.
Is that a situation in Tennessee?
Look at Baker out here, just making head coaches left, right. Speaking of which, did anybody watch any of those Liam Cohen introductions?
No.
The way he said Duval was really funny.
When we're done with the show.
That good, huh?
Boy, do I got something like it's like it almost looks like it should be out of a skit of like 55 burgers, 55 minutes. That guy.
Oh yeah, yeah. Tim Robinson.
Yeah, Tim Robinson, like one of those skits. He's like Duval. Yeah. Like the face he makes is like me doing it. Like,
I was gonna say it sounds like something creepy you'd do.
Yeah,
perfect.
That's right. You said Tim Robinson. I started seeing Shane Gillis in his face.
Yeah, same thing. Like he has a like weird like face like where like. I don't know, man. It doesn't make sense.
But you know what? To be fair, there's a lot of coaches where we like analyze their like awkward stuff in the beginning. Like remember Nick Sirianni? He got tons of trash for his like first presser.
Yeah, he's
so did
But then there was the
Dan Campbell.
Adam Gase googly eyes.
Yep. Well, that one should have been a tip off.
That was weird.
You can see weirdness in people's eyes.
Yeah.
And boy, could you see all the weirdness in that guy's eyes. Great googly moogly. So 1-2 to 1-4, right around like that pick 50 overall range then?
Yep. So quarterback 18 for me, 19 for me.
Yeah. That
range at the quarterbacks. Wide receiver would be looking at kind of a low end wide receiver 2. So I'm looking at like 20, 21 at wide receiver. Kind of range is probably where I'm putting Ted McMillan in at this point.
Right around there. Ted McMillan fall right around there. Yeah, because right around I have like Devontae Smith as wide receiver 18 overall.
Okay, I have him at 20.
So
remind me, Ted is a taller gentleman.
6'5". Yep.
I thought he was 6'5". I thought he was 6'3".
6'5".
Yeah.
Okay.
He's tall. He's very tall. Good movement skills.
I haven't gotten around to watch him at all. I'm just trying to get a
Jared and I are really obsessed with this running back class. So every time we say we're going to switch over to receiver, we just watch more running backs. So
Fair.
Can't blame you.
It's very fun.
Yep.
So then we go pick 5.
Let's go all the way to 6. Let's go all the way to 6.
6. Yeah,
so we kind of did
5.
like 1 through
5.
4 or 2 through 4 there, kind of all the same. Let's go to 1-6. And I do think you this isn't quite as big of a drop off as 1 to 2 ish.
I think it's really close. You still have, now you're talking Tyler Warren. You're talking quarterback 2 here.
You're looking at some of the top running backs at this point too, because if we think right now it's going to be 2 quarterbacks and a wide receiver, then we only have pick 115, which will probably be a running back unless a receiver or a tight end just goes bonkers and flies up the board, or a third, Jalen Milroe goes top 10 or something ridiculous.
Dude.
So
again, I want nothing to do with Anthony Richardson 2.0.
So all that being said, I don't think it's a huge drop off for me. Like once I get into right around 60, I have wide receiver 25, DJ Moore, wide receiver 26, George Pickens. I have Tucker Kraft at tight end. This is kind of where the gap starts at running back for me. So my last running back is running back 10 at 56 overall, and Kenneth Walker. Then I don't have another running back until...
My running back 9 is Kyron Williams. I have 66 overall. Now, to be fair,
I was at 54 at 10.
I had 2 picks in there, so he's really player-wise 64.
My next running back is 84. So I have a gap from 54 to 84. Or sorry, 56 to 84.
Yeah, and I think this is where it gets tricky for you because, okay, we're talking about pick 6, like 1-6 on here, like 1-6-1-9 range. That's like, okay, you just made the playoffs or just missed the playoffs, but then you made the playoffs and just got eliminated. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of running back need here. So my advice would be, okay, you have running back need here. If that's your hole, that's the way you want to go. You kind of want to stay in this range if you need a running back. If not, you probably want to trade this pick for a receiver in this area. Like you're looking at the, Xavier Worthies. I don't know how comfortable you feel with Olave, because the receiving class is going to be too deep. But Brandon Ayuk, DK Metcalf, DJ Moore, you mentioned, Jordan Addison, another very solid receiver that you could possibly get. George Pickens, Jaden Reed. What if somehow you can get Zay Flowers for this range here? It's tricky. I mean, obviously you need a tight end. You probably want to stick around here and get like Tyler Warren. We still got to watch the tape on Fannin.
Because I'd probably have Warren. Like I said, I had Kraft at tight end 5. Tight end 5 overall. And I would rather have Warren, I think, at this point than 100%. I would Kraft. I don't know about Loveland. Loveland's really close to Kraft for me.
Okay. And I mean, dude, Fannin, this is a guy who had 1,500 yards at tight end.
Which is bonkers.
And did really good against 2 big-time schools as well, Division Big Ten schools.
1,500 yards?
Yeah. Holy shit. Yeah, he dominated.
But he's more of a wide receiver. He's like 6'3".
Okay.
So he's one of those.
He moves. He moves pretty well. So, I'd 100% take Tyler Warren. Tyler Warren's probably going to go top 13 in the NFL draft.
I would think so.
Yeah, so once his draft capital, too, would boost people's opinion on him as well. I would probably put Tyler Warren, again, it's a haves and have-nots, ahead of Dalton Kincaid, probably right around the T.J. Hawkinson range, right around there. So right around.
I think I have Kraft higher than you do because I have Kraft at 5. So what tight end would you put at? Would you put Warren all the way up at 5? I'd
probably put, if he goes, say Tyler Warren goes top 12, and again, I haven't watched the tape yet, but I'm sure I'm going to love it because I'm a tight end slut. Probably a tight end 5, behind T.J. Hawkinson for me.
Okay. And above Kincaid?
Yeah, above Kincaid, who's currently my tight end 5. But again,
he's my tight end 5 too. And
he's both your tight end 5s. You guys got to update that.
I'm gonna be dropping that.
We're going through some difficulties.
He played through a PCL injury apparently and an injury to his other knee.
Oh, he did?
Yep.
Kincaid?
Yeah.
I'm back in.
For what it's worth, I have Kincaid at 10, and that feels too high.
Oh, I don't think that.
The only thing that doesn't make me feel better about his injuries is it doesn't take a PCL to catch a football.
Well, I'm
ready to put Johnny Smith above Dalton Kincaid.
It's a rough spot.
Pardon my French. Catch
catch
the ball, dude.
So, I think right around that range, we're like, it is because it sucks that you have to start sliding these people. It's a range, right? Because of where we're going. I think right around that DJ Moore range here is where we look at the DJ Moores, the DK Metcalfs. I would love to be able to, if I need a running back, I feel more secure, but maybe even James Cook. But that's the thing. the running backs hold so much. It depends what your need is, right? Because the running backs, the rookie contracts are what you want. And there's going to be people in this range that end up in some good spots, right? You're going to be very happy with their land spot and comfortable with their carry. So if you need a running back, my advice would be like, okay, stick with your pick, be good with it. If you need anything else, just trade the pick, right? Like you're getting out from another running back, which is it's such a fluid situation. It's so hard to predict and actually capitalize on it as well. Definitely because like if they're in timeshare, if you don't know for sure they're going to be the guy, you're much better off go ahead and gamble on a 26-year-old or by time next year, a 27-year-old Brandon Ayuk, right? Some of those lines. Maybe you can mess around. Your quarterback 2 is not great. You can get like a Dak Prescott possibly, right? In that range, a Bryce Young, maybe a Tua Tagovailoa, something along those lines. Because then you're looking at other running backs that are all under second contracts. You look at Kenneth Walker's, Chuba Hubbard's, Josh Jacobs. I'm always going to pivot there and take the rookie running back that I like more than other players. If not, like if I want a receiver, like and I'm picking that range 7, 8, 9. Like I want somebody to help me win now. Like I don't want to gamble on the rookie, even though like the rookie class over the last couple of years have had a lot of success. This rookie class is probably one of the weakest rookie receiver classes we've seen
in a few years. You got a couple nice guys at the top, but it does fall off pretty quick compared to other years.
It's nice to see the drop in age, right? There's only a few old guys this year, though, which is nice. Kind of all around throughout the whole. I just started doing, date of birth type of searches this past week. And really, there's only a couple of 24-year-olds in there, where in the past few years there's been quite a few.
A lot of older guys.
A lot of those.
So we're kind of out of that phase, which is nice.
Let's go to the end of the first round here. So if you had picked, somebody's offering you 112. They said 112. Like, what kind of player, or they want your 112 pick, I should say. You just came off a championship. Like, what kind of player are you looking to get for 112?
You're probably talking.
Where are we at with Sam Darnold? I have him ranked at 70 in my Superflex tight end premium.
Oh, I think I have him lower than that.
By the way, Dalton Kincaid just got moved back to 75. He's my tight end 6 now.
Yeah, take that.
Take that. But I mean, hopefully he does well and bounces back.
Yeah.
I was
thoughts and prayers.
I mean,
sometimes I just get so angry.
I'm thinking like Christian McCaffrey. Ricky Pearsall, Xavier Legette, Jamison Williams, Kyle Pitts.
I'm still trying to find
David Montgomery.
I'm out on Pitts. As much as I was in on Pitts, I'm out. I don't even think I would take Kincaid in this range.
What quarterback is Darnold for you?
He is quarterback
24 for me.
22 for me.
He's 22 for me, but he's quite a bit lower. He's 112th.
I have him at 99.
Superflex tight end premium.
Yeah, I'm at 99 overall.
I have him at 70.
I want to see what happens to him.
Right.
Like if he signs a 1-year deal somewhere, again, it does enough to move the needle a ton.
Right. No, but if he signs a 3-year deal somewhere good, he could be my tight end 15, or you know what I mean? He could jump. He could be.
He could be
depending
Leonard
on the
Fournette.
contract.
Him and Leonard Fournette, tag
You
team
never know.
partners.
The team contract, you never know.
No, and that's why I have him at 99.
Yeah.
Right. Like he played good this year. Looked real bad the last 2 games.
Sure.
Looked like Sam
Here's
Darnold.
2 players right here. Let's say if you're a contender and your wide receiver core is a little bit on the older side. You've got the Devontae Adams. You've got some of these older players, Mike Evans. Somebody says, "Hey, if you give me 112, I'll give you your choice of Jordan Addison or Xavier Worthy." Would either one of those guys entice you?
Oh, in a millisecond.
You would do both of those
if I need a
players?
receiver, 100%.
What about you, Matt?
Both of them.
I think Worthy for sure. He's starting to come along in that offense, and I feel like he's, especially in this playoff run, they're starting to kind of get it a little bit with him, or he's getting it a little bit in that offense. Jordan Addison, dude, I'd have to look at that dude's stats. I mean, where did he finish last year?
He ended up having a really strong year
wide
at
receiver 20
the end
overall.
of the year.
20.
And he
started slow.
He was wide receiver 20 overall. He missed 2 games, averaged 15.1 points per game.
Okay. Then, yeah, I'd probably do that.
Do that.
Kind of what I said before, like, Jordan, in the last show, it's like, Jordan Addison's kind of like that sneaky guy that you can go out there and go get.
If he was wide receiver 26 or 27, I know it sounds stupid. I'd be hesitant. You know what I mean? Because I think you can get those guys. But 20 and kind of ascending,
Where do you have Addison ranked? I have him at wide receiver 29.
30. I have him at 36. I probably should bump him up, actually.
Yeah, he was wide receiver 20 overall in fantasy. He was also wide receiver 20 overall in points per game.
Okay.
Addison.
Very
so
consistent.
he's a almost mid-range wide receiver too.
He's one of those guys that just kind of falls into a blah zone for me. You know what I mean?
Well, he's a
super
tougher
young.
week-to-week guy, and I think that's the trickier part, and that's why him and Xavier Worthy are like good fits together for me because week to week, like he has some of those like 2-3 touchdown games where he just wins your week, but he also has some of those like he got me 2.4 points this week.
He's 23 years old, literally just turned 23 this month. I have him as my wide receiver 27 overall. Looking back last year for Jordan Addison, first game of the year, 6.5, missed the next 2 games, came back 22.9, 6.6, 9.6, 4.2. But then after that 4.2.
Never mind. I got him at 36 for a reason.
16.1, 15.1, 30.2, 9.4, 39.3, 13.3, 14.5, 18.9.
He ended very well.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, it's a long stretch. And he's only 23.
He
Very
is.
good route runner, so those kind of players play. Never has to worry about full coverage because Justin Jefferson is offsetting them there. So, in a really good offense, Kevin O'Connell just gets his extension out there.
Yeah, that's it's going to be put
first
together
round
for a while
draft
there.
pedigree as well.
Do we worry at all about, hey, maybe J.J. McCarthy doesn't start off as good as what they've had in the past with Kirk Cousins and Sam Darnold? Do we worry about that at all?
I mean, here's the deal. I mean, think back to this past training camp. It was J.J. McCarthy pulling kind of ahead before he got injured. Right. So I think he was doing all right.
As dumb as this is, I'm looking at all the quarterbacks from this class that look like they're going to be really good. And I'm like, I mean, do the math. Somebody's got to suck. So, that's terrible analysis.
Yeah,
it's terrible analysis. But it's just one of those things where I was like, I mean, odds are somebody's got to suck.
But then you go back and you go, okay, look at what Kevin O'Connell has done with Sam Darnold,
Nick
Mullen, with Nick Mullins. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
Everybody's looked good. Every quarterback has looked really good in Kevin O'Connell's offense. And like Matt said, he was kind of pulling ahead there. And the moment he got hurt, we're like, we're not very long term. We know from what we've seen so far, J.J. McCarthy is our quarterback of the future. Yep. So it's probably going to go down as one of those all-time great quarterback classes. Really, just
it's going to rival the 2020 class, which right now is just looking so freaking good.
If you need a receiver, what class?
The 2020 class: Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Tua, Jordan Love, Jalen Hurts. Wow.
So, like you mentioned, it comes back to remember, when you're a playoff team, this is where you use your first round picks to fill holes, right? In more immediate needs. So if you need a running back, go ahead and take the rookie running back because they help you right away. If you need a receiver, you're trading and you're trading for upside. Right. I mean, even to the point, would you rather have 112 and take the third, fourth receiver in this rookie class or Jamison Williams, along those lines, who's only 23, Ricky Pearsall.
I think Jamison Williams is going to get you similar up and down production to the beginning of the season for Jordan Addison. Yeah,
but you might be able to get Chris Olave because of the concussion situation. If you want to gamble that way, you might be able to get.
I do not.
I probably wouldn't either. But you get Michael Pittman. You can get a 29-year who will probably turn 30 at the end of the year. Terry McLaurin. Who's looked fantastic under Jane Daniels.
That's a great one for a contender.
Yeah,
McLaurin, if I'm a contender, interests me. Those other guys there's too much baggage and too much crap.
I think McLaurin's probably the best bet to go get because you're probably going to get guaranteed one more year of what you saw. And two, and remember, you're in that championship window.
They're already talking contract
you're just trying to win
for him.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
These guys everybody's playing a little bit longer.
Yep.
So, it's going to be weird to see NFL football and Dynasty 6 more years from now. Are we going to have 32-year-old receivers play? Even quarterbacks, you're now you go from the quarterback's 30, 31 to goes back to
he's only 30, 31.
100%. So now it goes back to kind of the thing with Drake Maye at 22. I said 15 years. 37's okay, no problem. You're getting guys going in their 40s. Even Matt Stafford, man, he's really old. He's 36. You're you might get 4 more years. Stafford's arm looks as strong as ever. He looks
fine.
He took the Rams extremely. You know what I mean? So it's everybody's playing a little bit longer. So again, I said this before. Like everybody says, oh, in Dynasty, like he's only got 2 years left. That's back-to-back championships. So if you get 2 years of Terry McLaurin giving you wide receiver 1 numbers, now he's paired with Jaden Daniels, and all you have to do is get a pick 112, which is 50-50 to hit anyways, subtracted last year. You know what I mean? Like you want to make those kind of moves. So I think Terry McLaurin's probably the best go out and get him kind of guy.
Let's do one last one. Let's look at a mid-second. So, 205, 206 type of pick. What would you guys be looking at? Because instantly there were a couple names clumped together here that were kind of interesting for me. How would you feel about giving up 205 or 206 for any of these following receivers?
Jalen Wright.
Or running back, Jalen Wright.
I'm looking right.
That's a good one.
Right too.
Yeah, I'd want
Jalen McMillan, Keon Coleman, Juwan Jennings.
I would take Jalen McMillan for sure today.
Yep.
Okay.
But the Bucs go out and re-sign Chris Godwin to a 3-year deal, and like I'm like, okay, go ahead, give me 2.5.
I just burnt a second round draft.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So but today Jalen McMillan.
Sure.
I think like Cedric Tillman kind of falls in that range there.
I have him very close to that range as well.
Keon Coleman falls in that range a little bit there too, because you got to remember the Bills' offense is pretty difficult to pick up. They run a pretty intricate offense there. And he was picked 2-1 in the NFL draft.
And two interesting ones that guys that are kind of buried at the moment, other than Jalen Wright at the running back position, that I want to see how this class fleshes out a little bit more before I make this move. Like, remember what we said, these picks are only going to gain value, so wait till closer to the real life draft and your rookie draft in order to make these trades. But 2 other guys I'd keep an eye on. Tajay Spears, still interested in him.
On the list, by the way, 50-plus receptions already.
He was on it.
Yep.
He was on it. Jonathan Brooks, another one where it'd be like,
nah.
A mid-second, I'd consider it.
If I have to wait another year to see even if he can come back, no thanks.
Okay.
It sucks because I love the kid, but
Yeah.
we see it all the time. Like, dude, you tear the other ACL, he's probably gonna miss all of 2025. Then he's got to work his way back onto the field after. Like,
Yeah.
I
Agreed.
give me Jalen Wright.
To me, he was good to very good. He wasn't great.
Sure.
And
you're
he wasn't
not putting him in the Bijan.
Yeah.
And,
So,
All
like-
those running backs from that way. Marshawn Lloyd. And again, I'd rather probably just gamble on Marshawn Lloyd than Jonathan Brooks at this point.
Okay.
Trey Benson. Like Bucky's the star, and then you got Tyrone Tracy.
It was definitely an underwhelming running back class.
So I know, trust me, I gave up my first round pick this year and 2 drafts for Trey Benson. Hey, you swing and
You win some, you lose some.
Dude, dynasty fan, and that's not even like done yet. Like James Conner get hurt week 3, and Trey Benson comes out and he's ball busters. But again,
He's a ball blaster.
I am never afraid to swing the bat in dynasty, right? And those don't defer me. But you're right, mid-second. If I need a quarterback, I'm probably looking at Matt Stafford, Russ Wilson, Sam Darnold, receivers, Cedric Tillman, Jalen McMillan, Keon Coleman. I'd probably even trade a third for like a guy like Parker Washington in Jacksonville.
Sure.
Depending on
Josh
what they
Downs
do out
is another
there.
interesting name in that
Oh,
range.
I'd easily give up a bid for
2.5
Josh
for
Downs.
Josh Downs.
In a heartbeat. Like I'd rather have Josh Downs than Jalen McMillan.
Really?
I think so.
That's close for me. McMillan's got the higher ceiling.
McMillan's
Downs
got
is a little
higher.
safer.
Yeah.
I mean, David Montgomery probably falls. He's probably somewhere in that range there.
I bet he's closer to the 112 you'd have to
I
give.
think you're correct on that.
I think Khalil Shakir is somebody I'd be interested in there if I need some wide receiver help. For
sure.
Jacoby Myers is
Listen,
interesting to me.
Khalil's looking like the only guy in that offense that can
Knows
really
what's going on.
Yeah, really knows what's going on and can move the ball a little bit. So
If I need running backs like in that range, you're probably looking at like J.K. Dobbins. Somebody let to get up there, like you said, Tajay Spears, even DeAndre Swift with Ben Johnson in town there.
I might, if I was a contending team and had a mid-second, Cortland Sutton would be another interesting name that I would
for sure
try to float out there and see, like, can I make that work?
Tight end Isaiah Likely may fall in that range.
Just
right
in
there.
case he signs elsewhere. And,
there's rumors that Mark Andrews could get traded or reworked
after the Butterfingers.
Yeah, just
It was a tough couple weeks for tight ends.
His cap number
real
goes
tough
way
couple
up
weeks.
this year.
Yeah, it goes up big time.
Yep.
All right.
Can't wait. We'll talk free agency. I won't be on the free agent show this year, I
won't.
believe. I'll be in the Dominican Republic.
But that kind of works because it's right in the middle of our rookie breakdown.
Yeah.
So.
We take that little break. Right after the running backs before we go to receivers, right?
What?
Although this year
You're going to flip and do receivers?
it's a little bit different. So I guess we haven't officially talked about this, but the way I have it in the sheet is normally we do 4 running back shows and 6 wide receiver shows. This is a much stronger running back class and a weaker wide receiver class. So I think we're going to do 5 and 5 this year.
Perfect.
Yep.
So So we will have 1 week where it's, running backs part 5 and wide receivers part 1.
And then we'll do the Nerd Herd show
fine.
where we
Works.
talk about players that we didn't really talk about.
Yep.
Last year, you missed out on it. We did Tyrone Tracy in the
Tyrone
show.
Tracy was one of those players.
And I said, hey, Tyrone Tracy is probably my running back 5 or 6 in this class. And I was on the Nerd Herd show.
Yep.
Price of a cup of coffee. So,
Boom.
all right, that's it.
We got a lot of compliments on our Nerd Herd show this week. The ADP game.
Oh, yeah.
People really enjoy the ADP game.
Dude, I had 3 picks in a row where I had 1 I nailed on the head. I got the exact ADP, and I got 2 where I was within 1.
I think I was pretty bad on the game, wasn't I?
Wasn't your best.
Yep.
I got some people wrote me. They're like, dude, I was really rooting for you there.
You were that last one killed you.
It killed
Freaking
me.
Xavier Worthy.
And it's another thing I can't wait for the summer. Like I can't wait to bring the games that we do in the Nerd Show
They're
to the
fun.
like the Isaiah Likely meter, the ADP game. Like they're all
The
so
trade
fun.
game will be coming back. Rich's favorite
Yes.
game of
What's
all
the
time.
trade game?
That's the one you hated.
Which one was that?
The one where you guys have to each give me an offer for whatever, I say, like, all right, for, let's just say it's Jaden Daniels. And you guys have to try to give me
My
an
house,
offer.
my kid.
The closest offer in value according to the Nerds calculator wins. You hated it.
Yes,
And the
sounds-
people loved it.
Man, I would take Jaden Daniels 1-1 overall, possibly.
There you go.
I've been thinking about this a lot with the play. Like they both just lost. I was like, man,
Playoffs.
I was like, dude, Josh Allen is definitely the 1-1. Like he's definitely the 1-1. I was like, but if I had the 1-1,
If I had the 1-1, it
I
wouldn't
would
be him. It'd be Jaden.
I would probably just take the years and take Jaden Daniels. Like he looks that good.
Looks good.
Again, rookie quarterback could have a sophomore slump.
Could. For sure, man.
Well, we'll be back next week unless you're a nerd. Remember, we'll be back here on a Friday. But if not, we'll be back next week talking more Dynasty Fantasy Football.
Adios.
Hey, Nerd Herd. Dynasty Nerds has an incredible new offer from Underdog Fantasy for new customers. When you sign up as a new customer, you'll get a chance at their new customer free pick. But that's not all. Underdog is also offering incredible deposit bonuses. Use the promo code NERDS when you first sign up, and Underdog will give you up to $1,000 in bonus cash with your first deposit. That's right, $1,000 to kickstart your fantasy football journey. Don't miss out on this fantastic opportunity. Head over to UnderdogFantasy.com or download the Underdog app. Sign up today with promo code NERDS and start your journey to fantasy football glory today. Must be 18, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 21 plus in Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. In New York, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY. And in Tennessee, call 1-800-889-9789.